2 p.m. here nearly. Oh, you're only... Okay, yeah. You're only half an hour ahead of me. Right, because we're in... we finished daylight saving, of course. I never remember what the time difference is between the states. I just look it up as I need to know. It's not even that difficult to remember. I just don't bother. Video of Tom's got from computer files, slowly going insane, explaining time zones. Yeah. Oh god, I'm at, like, okay, so this, we're going back to the loop thing. This shopping system is effectively the equivalent of developing your own time zone system. Like, you don't do that. You just don't. You just use what works. It's easier. If I go to travel to Australia, has to be, wait. If I go travel to Australia, I have to get used to the half-hour time zones. It's only like 2 of the states that use them. That's the other weird part. But yeah, if you try to contact anyone outside of the state, it's weird. It's one of the many peculiarities. Yeah, peculiarities we'll go with of living in Australia. We just do whatever the fuck we want. It's like, oh, time zones? What are those? We just make them up. Oh yeah, sorry. I get, yeah. I was counting that as part of the state, but yeah, it is a territory. What the difference between a territory and a state is, I don't know. I genuinely don't. But there's some sort of difference. Their like leadership structure seems to be exactly the same as a state, but they're not a state. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is there. I've never really cared to work it out either, to be honest. I've always lived in either Queensland or South Australia, so it's not really been a top of my priorities, to say the least. And New Zealand. Yeah, they exist, don't they? I think difference is a number of people. Uh-huh. Could be. That's as good an answer as any. Yeah, I don't know. I actually didn't even realize that, like, Australian Capital Territory existed until, like, I think I was maybe 18 or so. I just had no idea that that territory even existed at all. Or the number of kangaroos. There's too many kangaroos. Kangaroos are a pest. More kangaroos than people, about double. People always talk about the spiders, but no, like, if you want something that's actually a problem, it's the number of kangaroos. You cannot go down any highway and not see dead kangaroos outside of, like, metropolitan areas. We are in a part of Antarctica too, because penguins can't vote, it's also a territory. Fair argument. Is it allowed to own a kangaroo for a home pet? You can get a license for it, but no. No. It's some license about owning specific wild animals. I don't know what the license is, but there is a license for it. Actually, I think it's easier to own a kangaroo in Texas than it is in Australia, to be completely honest. You wouldn't want to anyway. Tell that to the people in Texas who own lions. Oh yeah, there's a fun fact for you. Did you know there are more lions in Texas than than the rest of the world? The majority of the lion population lives in Texas. Because you can just own a lion in Texas. Because why not? Because it's funny. They can jump most fences. Yeah, you'd need like you'd need a prison fence probably. Kangaroos are basically human-sized or bigger? Some of them get up to like close to 7 foot. So they're pretty big. Plus they're like a wall of muscle. But yeah, you wouldn't want to own a kangaroo. Like there are better things to own. If you want to own like a Australian native, like a wombat, that'll be less of a problem to deal with. The wombat would fuck up your backyard. Yeah, that's true. I didn't say it was a good idea, but it's a better idea. What are kangaroos doing in the highways? Wait. What are the kangaroos doing in the highways trying to cross? They just like come out of nowhere. So the problem you have with kangaroos on highways is they will just like, yeah, they just charge at cars. They don't give a shit. They're just like, oh, I'm a kangaroo. I'm just gonna go across the road. And obviously, when a truck hits them, they die. But they don't give a fuck. They just jump onto the highway. They need some of that like cat intelligence where most of the time cats will like not run onto the road. They die, but if they go through your windscreen, you do too. Yeah. That's why there are like usually kangaroo kangaroo warning signs on most highways. Yeah, if you go like 100 kilometers, you're bound to see at least like 5 or so kangaroos, I would say, minimum on a good day. Kangaroos watch too many isekai. Honestly, it's a waste of good meat though. Kangaroos are a delicious animal. Yeah, no, it's absolutely allowed to eat. You can go to the regular supermarket and eat it. Up until, I would say, the past couple of years, it's mainly been treated as like pet food. But there's a couple of brands now that actually do sell kangaroo. And you can just like buy kangaroo steaks. Honestly, like we've got a campaign about like getting people to eat more pork. But we should do the same thing for kangaroo though. Kangaroo is actually something we do need to deal with. Good morning, Jangle Stick. How you doing? Juniper told a story that she, that where she lives, wait, Juniper lives in Alaska? Okay, sure. Families can apply to be on a list from which families get picked and called, which families get picked and called to pick up dead moose that got run over for their meat. Huh. I don't know if I'd want to eat roadkill, but it's better than nothing being done with it, I guess. Kangaroos not prohibited for hunting? Oh, absolutely not, no. God, imagine if they were. Like, how bad it was. If you could not hunt kangaroos, like, the kangaroo problem would be so much worse than it is. Like, it's the same with, like, places that have, like, an excess number of deer, for example. If you couldn't hunt deer in those places, like, you would have just nothing but deer. Everything else would die. It would be nothing but deer. At least kangaroos aren't a destructive animal, per se. Yeah, kangaroos are the emblem of... They're the native animal of Australia, but that doesn't mean we don't eat them. They're good eating. Emus, on the other hand, well, I wouldn't want to eat an emu. Those are a bit more endangered. Wait, so they're fully acknowledging the fact that it is roadkill. They call it the Moose Roadkill Lottery. That is... Yeah, I can... You know what? I've suddenly come to like this far more than I did before. Still don't exactly want to eat roadkill, but... I can at least come to accept the program.